Good morning, dear students of class 11 science. Welcome to biology class. We are dealing with the chapter biological classifications, and we are in the topic kingdom fungi. So today we will start with the classification of the kingdom fungi. Okay, so based on the morphology of myceliums, modes of spore formation, and fruiting bodies, the kingdom fungi has been divided into various classes. Okay, so many systems of classifications of fungi have been proposed from time to time by the mycologist. Okay, so what are the different classes of fungi which has been mainly been proposed by the mycologist based on their myceliums or the modes of formations? So mainly we have got Phycomycetes. Okay, so here I've written Zygomycetes because in our syllabus we have to go through Zygomycetes only. But the first class is Phycomycetes, 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 which has been divided into two groups. Okay, the first one is Oomycetes and the second one is Zygomycetes. So here we'll just simply go with Zygomycetes only. Then second one is Ascomycetes, then Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. So these are the four classes of fungi which we have to go through syllabus. Clear? So we'll just go through the characteristics of each group and kindly note it down. Okay, whatever the characters I'm going to teach you over here, kindly note it down. So first one is Zygomycetes, also known as the conjugation fungi. It's in the page number 2.48. Okay, so Zygomycetes, page number 2.48. So kindly go through Zygomycetes only. It's also called the conjugation fungi. So first character is that they are mostly saprophytes, which used to mainly draw the nourishment from the dead and decaying dead remains of plants and animals. There are some parasites which are dependent on the other host. Then cell wall is mainly composed of chitin. Okay, mycelium is well developed, branched and cenocytic. Next one, which is important, asexual reproduction is mainly by the help of sporangiospore or by aplanospore or by conidia. So these are the structures, or we can say the different modes of asexual reproduction in case of Zygomycetes. Okay, so asexual reproduction is takes by help of sporangiospore, which are present in the sporangium. Then we have got aplanospore or we have got conidia. Whereas sexual reproduction takes place by the copulation of gametangia and followed by the conjugation. Now since there will be copulations, fusion of gametes or gametangia leading to their conjugations, these Zygomycetes are also known as conjugation fungi. And therefore the fusing gametes, because I am telling you that during sexual reproduction there will be copulation of gametangia, the gametangia will be fused, the gametes will be fused. So therefore the fusing gametes are multinucleate, they contain multiple nucleus and are also called cenogametes. Okay, then sexual reproduction produces a resting diploid zygospore. On germination, it produces a germ sporangiospore which bears a terminal germ sporangium. So here you can see the two modes of reproduction in Zygomycetes. One is asexual reproduction, which takes by means of sporangiospore, aplanospores, or conidia, whereas during sexual reproductions there will be fusion or the copulation of gametes, also known as gametangia, and their conjugations. That's why the Zygomycetes is also known as conjugation fungi. And the fusing gametes are multinucleate, they bear multiple nucleus and are known as cenogametes. And always the sexual reproductions lead to the formation of zygospore. Okay, and on germinations it produces germ sporangiospore. Clear? Now in the germ sporangium, meiospores called the germospores are produced after meiosis. Okay, so we have a few examples: rhizopus, mucor. Okay, then we have got spores also, Escherichia also. So now we can see over here the structures. Okay, so here you can see the common bread mold examples. A part of hypha. This is the part of the hypha. You can see the presence of wall. You got vacuoles, nucleus which is multinucleated, cytoplasmic part and the mitochondrial part. This is the part of the hyphae. But here you can see the sporangium. The sporangiospores are present. Okay, this will help in asexual mode of reproductions. So now you can see the few examples like rhizopus. Okay, then you can even see the example like mucor also. So these are the few examples of the class Zygomycetes. So kindly go through the characteristics whatever I have told you. Okay, the next one is Ascomycetes, also known as the sac fungi. So it's in the page number 2.50. Repeat, page number 2.50. The class Ascomycetes, the sac fungi. Characteristics. Okay, these Ascomycetes are a large group of fungi with more than 30,000 species. They include diverse forms such as yeast, brown, green, and pink mold, cup fungi, okay, and edible morels and truffles. So what are the general characteristics of the class Ascomycetes or the sac fungi? So mainly they are terrestrial. Now you know what terrestrial means, right? So they occur throughout the year as saprophytes or parasites. Now what is saprophytes and what is parasites? You know differences. I'm not going to tell you. Clear? Then they're haploid fungi. That means they can have half the number of chromosomes. Their mycelium is branched and septate and hyphae. Now what do you mean mycelium? The network of hyphae is known as mycelium. Clear? Septate means presence of wall or septum in hyphae. Now cell wall is made up of chitin or is made up of fungal cellulose. The most distinctive features of this group is the formation of a sac-like structure called the ascus. Since there is formation of a sac-like structure, ascus, it is also known as sac fungi. Clear? So the most important features, the distinguished features of this group is the presence of a sac-like structure, and this sac-like structure is known as ascus, and hence it is also known as sac fungi. Okay, now in this ascus we will find 8 haploid ascospores. Clear? So in this sac-like structure called ascus, 8 haploid ascospores are produced, and these are formed by the sexual fusion of 2 hyphae of opposite mating type. These 8 haploid ascospores are produced or are formed by the sexual fusion of 2 hyphae of opposite mating types. The 2 haploid nuclei in the ascus, listen carefully now, 2 haploid nuclei in the young ascus fuse to form a diploid nucleus, because the parental body is haploid, but within the ascus we are finding 8 haploid ascospores. Clear? So within this ascus, the 2 haploid nuclei, in the young ascus, the 2 haploid nuclei will fuse to form the diploid nucleus. Clear? The resulting zygote undergoes meiosis to produce 4 or 8 haploid ascospores. These spores in each ascus belong to both mating type. On the rupture of ascus, ascospores are released. So what this means is that, just for now look at this figure, okay, ascus, a sac-like structure. Now within this ascus, 8 haploid ascospores are produced, but how are they produced? So during sexual fusion of 2 hyphae of the mating type, listen very carefully, in the young ascus, okay, during the sexual fusion of 2 haploid hyphae of mating type, the 2 haploid nuclei within the young ascus, they will fuse with one another, and whenever the 2 haploid nuclei will fuse, then they will form a diploid nucleus. So all these things are occurring within the ascus, remember. Okay, so after the fusion of the haploid nuclei and after the formation of diploid nucleus, the resulting zygote, because after fusion of gamete there will be formation of zygote, so the resulting zygote in the young ascus undergo meiosis and produces 4 or 8 haploid ascospores, and whenever the ascus will rupture, ascospores are released. So don't get confused over here between the ascus and the ascospore. So when the ascus will rupture, will break, then ascospore will be released. So these ascospores are present within the ascus. Okay, so it may be 4 or 8. Generally there will be 8 haploid ascospores within the ascus, which is formed by the fusion of 2 hyphae of opposite mating types. Clear? Next one. Asexual reproduction, it takes place by oidia, chlamydospores or conidia, and unicellular form like yeast. Fission, fragmentations and budding are the common modes of vegetative propagations. Clear? And sexual reproduction is gametangel copulation. That means there will be fusion of gametes. There will be gametal contact. There will be spermatizations and somatogamy. And fertilization involves plasmogamy and it is followed by karyogamy. So all these plasmogamy, karyogamy and meiosis we have learned in the previous classes. Okay, the steps of sexual reproduction in case of the fungi. And we have a few examples: yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. We have got penicillium, then we have got aspergillum, then we have got neurospora. So at least remember 2 examples of each class. Clear? Okay, diagrams. So you can see the examples of aspergillus over here, and which usually shows reproduction by the help of conidia. Okay, we have got the conidia over here. Then we have got penicillium, then we have got morcella or morel, then we have got Begia or cup fungus. Okay, so these are the few examples of the class Ascomycetes. Now let's go to the next class, Basidiomycetes. It's in the page number 2.53. Okay, page number 2.53. The class Basidiomycetes, also known as the club fungi. Okay, so kindly note down the characteristics. So it includes a large group of fungi with over 25,000 species. They include the highest evolved fungi. The group gets its name Basidium, the club-shaped structure present at the tip of the reproductive hyphae. Okay, so let's check out the characteristics of Basidiomycetes. The mycelium is perennial. Now what does perennial means? Kindly note down the meaning of perennial. It means having a life cycle of more than 2 years. Okay, perennial means having a life cycle of more than 2 years. Septate means presence of septum or wall in the hyphae, and multicellular composed of branched hyphae. So perennial means living more than 2 years. Septate means presence of septum or wall, and it's multicellular. There are 2 types of mycelia. One is primary and another one is secondary. So there are 2 types of mycelium in case of Basidiomycetes, primary and secondary. Okay. Now primary mycelia, listen very carefully. Okay, point number 3. Primary mycelium develops by the germination of basidiospores. Clear? Primary mycelium, it develops by the germination of basidium, and its cells are monokaryotic. M-O-N-O, mono, K-A-R-Y-O-T-I-C. Mono means one and karyotic means nucleus. So it has got single haploid nuclei. Okay, and usually the primary mycelium is short. Clear? Then distinct sex organs are not formed. In their place, fusions occur between the basidiospores and the other monokaryotic spores. And there is differentiation between the 2 mating types. It's given the plus and minus strands. Okay, sexual reproduction, it involves 3 steps: plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. Now what is plasmogamy? Plasmogamy, it mainly involves the fusion of 2 protoplasts, but the nucleus does not fuse. So all these things we have learned in our previous classes only. And plasmogamy will result in the formation of dikaryon. Okay, karyogamy is the fusion of nuclei. An intervening phase between the plasmogamy and karyogamy is known as the dikaryo phase, and it produces a new mycelium called the secondary mycelium. So after the formation of primary mycelium, it will be followed by the formation of secondary mycelium. Okay, and primary mycelium was short, whereas secondary mycelium is usually long-lived and consists of branched filamentous hyphae which are septate and binucleate. Okay, now the secondary mycelium, it will penetrate the soil or the hood with the help of sclerotia, S-C-L-E-R-O-T-I-A. All these characters you will get in the book also. Okay, sclerotia, or rhizomorph, the root-like accretion of hyphae. Now karyogamy and meiosis takes place in a club-shaped structure called the basidia, and hence the name of the group is Basidiomycetes. Okay, each basidium produces 4 meiospores or basidiospores, which are present at the tip of the fine outgrowth called the sterigmata. Basidiospores are small, thin-walled and unicellular cells. These vary in shape, size and color in different species. So just go through the characteristics. Okay, no need to go in remember the entire characteristics of this class, so just only a few selected class will remember. Okay, what over your most important thing, you have to remember the types of reproduction. That is very very important, along with the mode of reproductions, the type of hyphae and the mycelium. The examples we have got the Mostrum agaricus, Pucciniana, Polyporus, Amanita. So this is the few examples. This is the club, the structures. Okay, the club structure present over here, and to the presence of the structure, the name is given as Basidiomycetes. Okay, last one is Deuteromycetes. It's in the page number 2.56. It's also called the Fungi imperfecti, and it includes about 17,000 species of fungi which do not have a sexual stage in their life cycle. The members of this group are found in diverse habitats. Let's go to the characters. The saprophytes or parasites, you know the meaning now. Mycelium is septate, having septum, wall, and hyphae is branched. Septa are perforated, means with pores. Perforated means with pores. P-O-R-E-S, pores. Okay. Septa are perforated. Perforated means having pore. P-O-R-E-S, pores, and multinucleate, having multiple nucleus. Reproduction is by asexual means because there is no sexual mode of reproduction, and the common method is just by the formation of conidia. And most of the members of this Deuteromycetes in fact are Ascomycetes, in which sexual reproduction is absent. Examples, we have got Helminthosporium oryzae, Alternaria solani, and Coletortrichum falcatum. These are the few examples of the class Deuteromycetes, and most of the diseases are caused by this Deuteromycetes only. Okay, so few of the examples I give over here. Brown leaf spore disease of rice, which is infected with the fungi Helminthosporium. Then the second one is the red rod of sugar cane, and early blight of potato, and the Tika disease of groundnut. These are the diseases which are caused by the fungi belonging to the class Deuteromycetes. Clear? So now in general, in briefly, we will see the distinguishing mode between the different classes of fungi. In first of all, you can see the Phylogomycetes. Okay, I have been telling you that Phylogomycetes is divided into two groups, Oomycetes and Zygomycetes. So we'll just go through the characteristics of Zygomycetes. Okay, then second class, we will go here, Zygomycetes. Then Ascomycetes, we have got Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. So we will mainly focus from Zygomycetes to the class Deuteromycetes, and he will distinguish, he will remember the characteristics based on their mode of nutrition, based on their mode of reproduction, or sexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So these are very very important characteristics, and next one you will remember the examples of each class. Clear? So when we talk about the class Zygomycetes, it has got mode of nutrition, saprophytic. Whereas class Ascomycetes, they have got saprophytic, parasitic, or coprophilous mode of nutrition. Basidiomycetes, they are saprophytic or parasitic, whereas class Deuteromycetes, they are mostly parasitic in nature. Okay. Then when we talk about the asexual reproductions, in case of class Zygomycetes, it takes place by means of sporangiospore, aplanospores, or conidia. In class Ascomycetes, it takes place by means of oidea, conidia, and chlamydiospores. In class Basidiomycetes, it takes place by chlamydiospores, ascidiospores, hydrospores, and pterospores. But if you get confused, just remember the characteristics I have told you in the first PPT, second PPT. Clear? So just go through the characteristics. So these are the simple, or we can see the brief differentiation between the different classes of the kingdom fungi. But remember the characteristics based on their mode of nutrition, okay, based on their mode of reproductions or sexual reproductions and sexual reproductions. Clear? And remember at least two examples from each class. Okay, and kindly note down all the characteristics which I have taught you right now. Okay, no need to go through in book in details. Whatever the characteristics I have told you, just go through it. But remember the two examples of each class. That is compulsory for you. Clear? So in the next class we will learn about the economic importance of the kingdom fungi. Clear? So this much for today. See you in next class. Thank you.